Break family, how's every single one of you? Welcome to the review for Cash at the Castle, and I think that we was one of, probably we could say, the first pay-per-view under Triple H, like completely under Triple H, and it was, I think, a pretty good pay-per-view. A lot of people in Wales would love it. Maybe not the main event, but outside of that, I think a pretty solid show in the Triple H. Not a lot of matches either, only like 6 or 7, so that's really cool for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that Triple H, we said it for the longest time, SummerSlam, some people said, okay, how much is this is his? He's still working on Vince's storylines, this and that. But, we want to say, what could Triple H do when he had full control? How is he going to steer the ship? And I think you got to give him applause. And you also, like you said it too, mentioned a little bit, you got to bring the applause to the crowd here in Cardiff, because they were amazing. They haven't seen. I was like, oh, I was thinking it, and I'm like, no, there's no way that's true. 30 years since WWE's been in the UK for a pay-per-view, way too long. This crowd proved one thing: they shouldn't even wait 30 months before they go back for another one. It should be at least do it. Don't overexpose it, because then don't go over there every week, because then the fans will be like they are over here. They won't give a shit. Go over once a year. Really treat those fans, because they brought it. They made this show feel even more special than it was. But the matches, they gave them time. They gave them quality. It wasn't overloaded. There wasn't 14 matches on the card. No, it was like 6 matches, I think. I don't count pre-show.
And then one with the pre-show, but nobody watches that, so we're good.
But I mean, this was a great pay-per-view, and I think it's one of those things where kind of like how SummerSlam ended. It's like you're gonna want to watch Raw, you're gonna want to watch SmackDown to see what happens next.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing, is like when you want to watch the next show, you're looking forward to see what's happened next. Let's start it out, Paul, and let's see what we can do with this, because like the first match, that was actually what we saw is the 6 women tag, it was a damage control with like Bailey and all in her group going Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and also Bianca Belair. And what did you think about this match?
I mean, a little long. I mean, you could have Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, the Steiner brothers, Bret Hart. You could have whoever in a 6-person tag match, and it's not going to be the best thing ever. It's just how it is.
They just needed
and you throw people in there,
and you throw all these girls to do that.
Yeah,
a solid win for damage control, I feel. Very sloppy, but they gave it enough time.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to, is just and then in a match like this that's set up for failure, then you put people in like Alexa Bliss. And the one thing because we saw people get their names back and things change under Triple H, I was thinking maybe we see Asuka act a little more serious. She's back to her old NXT look and gear, but she still acts goofy with the fucking arms and the thing, and it's like, act a little bit more serious, act like the Empress of Tomorrow, when you were badass. But this went a little long, and I thought, at least they're opening the show with it. This was really the only stinker for me. The only good thing is I like, Bianca looked good. They held her out for most of the match. She came in, made the hot tag, started cleaning house. Then the heels took over. They each hit one of their finishers, boom, boom, boom. Then Bailey, I think Io hit the big moonsault, but Bailey was the legal woman. She came in. Yeah, it was Dakota Kai hit the kick. Bailey hit the rose plant, then the moonsault, but Bailey was legal and covered the champ 1, 2, 3. So, I mean, hey, that's the perfect feud to set up Bailey versus Bianca. So, at least that was right, but a little long.
Also, like the Dakota kick or the Kai kick, something like that. And yeah, and the one thing, like you said, it took a lot of time to set up this to the finish, but also I think that the tempo, there was not correct. Like you see Dakota Kai kind of hesitant or going in laps, going around twice or 3 times just to hit the kick. Despite of all of those that botches there, the match sets up for Bailey. This group, Damage Control, needs a win, and that's the main thing, because like you said, Bianca is going to be next for her. We've seen this feud before, but despite of that, hey, at least that was a decent start for the pay-per-view. We saw also Bret the Hitman Hart, because they of course had to pump up the situation of him in the 30 years of SummerSlam 1992. That, by the way, Liv Morgan has not seen it yet. They asked that at the press conference. It's like, did you watch that? So I haven't watched it. It's like, it was even before I was born. So I was like, at least, and the history of where you're going at least. But despite of that, what he's going to do. Let's go now to this poll. Let's talk about this poll, like the best match of the night. I think this stole the show. And, two guys from Europe, not one of the UK, because Walter or Gunter is actually from Vienna, from Austria. But, like, Intercontinental Championship match, great stuff. And, like, even like Michael Cole, he was allowed to say that, pretty old school. What does that mean? Hard-hitting, a lot of action, and both beat the crap out of each other. And in the end, at least he retains, because he's the guy that they're trying to promote, or the guy that they're trying to make look really good. And Sheamus,
I could
don't
deal.
want to say that he's retiring, but solid performance by him too.
Yeah, I could deal without the the Butch and all them jumping at each other and being all goofy and shit in the beginning. Just have the match, whatever. But besides that little nitpick aside in the beginning, I mean, this match was awesome. Definitely my favorite match of the night, just because of, I don't want to, Sheamus is no slouch. We always say how good he is, even though he's been here forever, and, he hasn't really done anything new, but he's still legit, despite what you may think of him.
Yeah.
And, Walter is awesome. He's one of the best, and we're glad, I know you're glad too. I know I can speak for you here, that they're presenting him legit.
Yeah.
That even though he has the name change, whatever, he's still the same guy. And I think this match surprised a lot of people, and it's probably going to be the match of the night for a lot of people, just because if this was Vince McMahon, this IC title match would have went 8 minutes maximum. It would have went 8 minutes. They would have did not even half the stuff they did. And yeah, probably with entrances, and then, done. But no, Triple H gave these guys at least 20 minutes. They fought all over the place. And Sheamus is the perfect guy. He's pale as a ghost, so when he eats them chops, his chest gets all red, all bloody and stuff. The big white noise, all this stuff. They hit all the moves. And the crowd, again, you watch this match on a SmackDown in America, the crowd's kind of into it, and you want Walter to win, and okay, Walter wins, whatever. But over here, anytime Sheamus had the comeback, the crowd was behind Sheamus, and you thought, oh my god, like you almost wanted Sheamus to win. Because even on commentary, saying, "Oh my, this is the only title he hasn't held, the IC belt, blah blah blah." You get it hyped up, and you think, "Oh my god, it's gonna win," and he sets up for the bro kick, big power bomb, but Walter can't cover because he's exhausted too. The match just went on, and it was great. Eventually. And Walter is so good. He's one of the only guys who can win with just any move because he's so big, so powerful. He just picks him up, clothesline, boom, knocks the shit out of him. 1, 2, 3. Walter's the man. He's awesome. The IC belt, how can you not say this belt's starting to feel legit? And it's all because of Triple H and Walter. You got it. That's another thing you can't say. This
good stories. Like you said, for example, like him winning with like the clothesline, it makes a lot of sense because of all the damage that happened before. I remember like the tailbone was like hurt, Sheamus couldn't get up, like the broke kick, he tries to do it now, he's like, the injured both sell him really well. Worth saying that also Imperium is back. They brought Da Vinci, or the guy
Giovanni is his name.
Martel. That's how he's supposed to be, but
that's the only thing that kind of sucks with a complete name change. Triple H really can't go back on. It's kind of just you have to toss your hands in the air. It is what it is. But at least he can add first names and last names back.
And that was cool, and to see them all back. The music needs to come back. The Symphony number 9.
Hopefully the music.
Yeah, and then finally, because even he was like, at some point, I don't know if you notice when they're coming out, they're like, do we do this or no? And they're like, yeah. You think was like, fuck with it, fuck with it. Don't be bullshit. Another thing that it was so great is just look at this. The whole standing ovation for Sheamus.
Well, yeah, because these crowd, you got to think, like you said, 30 years. There could have been somebody in the crowd that was 10, 12 years old, or even, older, whatever, younger. And now they have a kid. And they took the kid here and said, "Oh, last time WWE had a pay-per-view, I was, I was your age, and now I'm taking you here, and now you got to think how special it was to these fans. Yeah. To see this is even maybe the first time they saw Sheamus.
Having a great ovation. We love you. Like they embrace them, and you see the intensity, the level of engagement of the crowd. It was just something that we don't see regularly.
And I'm calling out, any person who goes to a live event, pay-per-view, a show here in America, because they embarrassed us as a crowd. They made us look like losers. You know, they brought it. They brought the intensity as a crowd. That's the best crowd I've seen. Let's see how Chicago does tonight. But
we will be here. We will be here, you know, for All Out. So, like, you know, we're gonna have to compare. We're gonna have to mention like this stuff from this video because it's on tape. So, Paul, let's talk about something that it wasn't like extremely great. We knew that like it wasn't supposed to be like this. A lot of people are not happy with like Liv Morgan, like the way that she's being portrayed as a champion. A lot of people saying that even Freddie Prinze Jr., like, oh, like she's probably the weakest champion, and you're not. It's just a baby face on top of that. Shayna Baszler, on the other hand, she has not been able to be the same Shayna Baszler that we know from the NXT days when we first started doing Raw Break. But despite of all of this, I think that like the best that you could have given to us, it was given, you know?
Yeah, if you're not going to have Shayna win this thing, and they was setting it up for... Excuse me. It was setting it up for like, well, first off, Madonna gear, badass, you know, right? And we're gonna talk about another, you know, I guess you would say homage or whatever to a musician later on in the Seth Rollins match.
But
yeah,
like a virgin. I'm sorry, like a virgin.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but great stuff. The one thing though, Triple H, he booked Shayna Baszler legit. Obviously in NXT, she was the woman. You know, she was badass. So you thought, okay. Thought maybe you'd see some of that here, and a little bit we did. A little bit of the old stuff where she, like, you know, gets you in the Karafuda clutch out of nowhere and all this stuff. I mean, she looks good. Liv was going for the arm bar, but like even commentary said, Shayna's the submission magician. You know, I don't know if they've used that nickname for her recently. I know that was an NXT thing, you know, maybe bringing that back. You know, but she locks the arms, gets out of the arm bar. She's so good. And, you know, but you think this is Liv's first title defense, man, the crowd was really behind her. And I think she's one of those where Triple H sees the passion. He sees how much she wants to succeed. And, you know, he's going to help these people, whether they're the best wrestler or not. And, you know, what was even, because the finish to me, and this kind of came out of nowhere. It wasn't like Liv, oh my God, big comeback, boom, boom,
She did
boom.
like the
finish.
It was kind of like the code breaker, and then she took it into the Oblivion. And that was it, like the Kirifuda clutch. She was able to get out of it. Why? Because there's been videos of her training with Matt Riddle. So Riddle, you know, like with a UFC background, he was like, oh, this is how you come out of it. This is how you can get out of it, and then maybe transition into like submission of your own. And, you know, that's how she kind of like came out of it. That's the Oblivion. She sells the arm, though. So we got to, at least I give that to Liv Morgan. She sells the story because she was selling the arm. You could see that like she had the arm, right next to her chest like the whole time. So that was good. And by that, Shayna Baszler loses. She retains. I mean, you said it. The story is with like Ronda Rousey. She was the suspension was lifted on last SmackDown, so we will see what happens. But I mean, Liv Morgan is going to stay the champion. I don't know what they can do to get the title off her, but you know, like you said, it's not like, oh my gosh, she's great.
The division definitely does feel weak. You know, you got Becky Lynch gone, Charlotte gone. I mean, Sasha's coming back. That's, I would say, almost guaranteed from what we've been hearing, the rumblings. And, you know, probably that means Naomi as well. And, I mean, hey, now you have a Dakota Kai, you know, Io Shirai. You have all these different women, so the division is getting a little better. But still, you know, SmackDown, to me, I feel is a weak division. You know, you really got to do stuff. And I don't know even what do you do after Ronda Rousey? You know, whether Liv wins or Ronda wins as the champ, what do you do after that?
Then probably the return of Charlotte. You need to just bring
But I mean,
back.
that's still only the same 3-4 women for the past how many months?
You gotta like maybe
you
at some
do
point
something different.
You know, build her up good. You know, that will be cool. Also, like at some point, I don't know, like you said, Sasha coming back, Naomi. There's a few alternatives that you could kind of use. But like you said, it's a little like weak on the SmackDown side. Raw is a little better because of Io, Bayley, and all of that. We'll see what happens on that poll. But now let's go to the next one because this one was cool and also like it needed to be a change here. Why? Because, you know, we've seen this feud already like for like a few months with Judgment Day and also like Rey Mysterio and also bringing Edge. This, like I said, the match pretty good. I enjoyed this because of a lot of like moments of like different, for example, like see Edge. So I'm gonna bring my mask. I look like a devil. I don't know why. What was the intention right there? Didn't look that good, but you know, this was really cool. Him doing the 619, a lot of tag team combinations with Rey Mysterio. Remember in the
I like when he hit it when he went for that and they called it, they're like 619. And I think it was Corey Graves because he's supposed to be like the heel. He's like, oh, it looks more like a 519 and stuff like that, just insulting him because obviously Edge, you know, doesn't hit it as flawless as
Rey Mysterio.
But I mean, this was another match too. I thought, okay, you know, we almost kind of saw this on Monday Night Raw. You know, is this really going to be anything, you know, to watch right home about, to care about? You know what? Yeah, I think it was, as I was watching. And you know why? The crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd, I think, brought this up from a Monday Night Raw match. I mean, the ending and everything also, with what we're going to talk about
a lot of tag team combinations
made it feel special.
All of that.
But I mean, the commentary, I mean, Ray, you know, boom, when he, you know, he's in there with Finn Balor, he, you know, he makes Finn look like a chump, and the crowd is loving it. You know, they're losing it. They're going crazy. They're making this feel special. Edge is in there. He's selling for Damian Priest, because Priest is, as great as Finn Balor is, I think his time is, hey, you know, he's more on kind of like the downslide, unfortunately. Priest is the guy, so they're really making him look strong in here. And that's why, you know, he's the one who eats the pin, Finn Balor. But also in the match, you saw Rhea Ripley get involved and stuff. She kind of slammed Dominic into the barricade. She had him picked up. Ray dives to the outside into Dominic, but ends up taking out Rhea as well and all this stuff. And
a lot of people with the memes that like Rhea and Dominic look like Eddie and China.
Yeah, and some stuff to, you know, lead into, you know, for those who aren't familiar. You know, Ray wanted, Dominic was like, oh, you know, I want to be in the tag with you, you know, whatever, it'll be legit. He's like, no, I'm going to be with Edge, but don't take offense. You know, I still want you out there with me. You're still my son. I love you, blah, blah, blah. It's legit. So, okay, but that's kind of planting the heels, you know, for Dominic to think, oh, maybe he don't need me, whatever. And then in this match, you know, Dominic's getting beat up, thrown around, everything else. You know, the ending, I love it. You know, he goes for the 619. And then Finn Balor, you know, he gets out of there. You know, don't be bullshit. He starts taunting to the crowd. He hits the ropes, you know, goes to bounce off. Dominic grabs his foot. So without Dominic, this, you know, none of this happens. Finn Balor and, you know, Judgment Day, they might get the win, you know, but no, Dominic grabs the foot. You know, eventually that causes Ray. He hits the 619, sends him right into Edge for the spear. They get the win 1, 2, 3. You know, so the baby faces win, they're celebrating. You know, okay, come here, Dominic. You know, give me the hug. Boom.
Up to that point is whatever, right? Who gives a damn?
I mean, he crotches Edge. Edge, oh my God, it's done. Ray's like, what are you doing, son? What are you doing? Boom, he clotheslines him, and that's the most intensity you've seen out of Dominic. And I love how he didn't go right over to Judgment Day. So it wasn't a thing where it's like, oh, he was working with us all along. Ha, 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 you're screwed.
Although they were laughing their asses off.
Yeah, I said, but I do love how they were still laughing at him. They were still like, ah, in your face, your kid is like, bullshit. Yee. And I mean, you see Dominic, he walks off, and even the crowd, they were kind of like reaching at him, and he's shrugging them off. And I love the intimacy of this. It's not where the people are, you know, 20 feet away. He's walking down an aisle. The fans, it felt old school. It felt legit. And again, to the crowd, tell me the last time. I don't know if we saw it up to this point, but we definitely saw it multiple times. Oh, yeah, we did. We saw it in the Walter and Sheamus match, where the crowd just stands up for portions of the match, and they're going crazy. When do you see people stand up? Attitude Era. I haven't seen that for like 20-some years.
The only thing here, Paul, to say, like, Dominic, you need to work out a little bit more, bro, because it's just like, you know,
Dominic, I mean, no offense to him or whatever, but I mean, there's guys that I think are younger than him, like Braun Breaker, Austin Theory, and them, and, you know, way more talent, and look at them. I mean, he's there because of his dad, but I mean, let's got to see what he does as a heel.
That's it. This is the picture of you and me hugging when we're done with the show. So, and that's pretty legit.
After this long weekend.
So, like, Ray is like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, Edge. You know, my son is, you know, he doesn't know what he wants yet. So, the main thing is, like, to further the story, to continue this. So now we don't know if Dominic is going to join Judgment Day. He's going to be on his own. It has been planned such a long time ago. Remember, like, after, like, it may be Mania. They were saying, oh, he's going to turn on his dad. They didn't do it yet. Something changed. Finally, they did it. So that's good. I mean, the fact that Edge is in there, I'm not too happy about that, because Edge should be on its own. You know, he doesn't need anybody to be tagging or anything. But, like you said, is still another seed to continue the feud. You gave me more. You gave me a reason to keep caring about this. That's what, like, the main thing that I like, and that's why, you know, this was good. And just to see Dominic, like I said, showing a different side of him, that's good to see, and cool to see what's going to happen next. Let's go to the next match, Paul. Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle. This was probably for a lot of people also like the greatest match of the night. To me, it was good, but we've seen this type of matches with Seth Rollins, so I wasn't too, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. I was still hooked up with like Walter or Gunter against Sheamus. That was for me more different. It was newer than this, but despite that, great match, great showing. I don't know if Riddle, for me, like you said needed to win for you. I mean, for me, Riddle needed to win. But because of some comments that he might have done, I have I have some other things to do if WWE fires me. I don't know. But what do you think of the match?
And also the one thing, not to go too off topic, is I don't know when those leaked text messages came out. Was that recent or was that from weeks, months ago?
I think I guess they broke up. So
no, because those no, I just mean those text messages, those screenshots. Is that because if those are months ago and maybe he was in trouble for something, then it might not have anything to do with what's going on now. So, but anyway, back to this match. I mean, to me, if you're going just based off the pure match quality, I mean, yeah, this is got to be, I would think, second place or, first place for a lot of people. And, here we see Elton John coming out, legit stuff. Yep. And then Riddle, he was like Patrick Star. He had, from SpongeBob, his gear. So, everybody's being everybody else. But, this match was great. I mean, Rollins is fantastic. Riddle's good. They had the intensity. These guys went out there. I mean, even when they locked up, they had the intensity, just the strikes, beating each other up. Rollins using that. He's getting in Riddle's face. A lot of times, they had the mic on him so that you could hear. He's like, oh, you're a piece of shit. That's why your wife left you. That's why you won't win. That's why you'll never win, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, good stuff in this match. Fighting on the outside and everything. Like you said, you thought maybe Riddle needed to win, but Riddle and Roman, we kind of saw that teased a little bit. You got to think there always needs to be a plan. Nobody can just win and then just stand there, like a turd in a toilet. Like, now what? No, you need to have a plan. What are you going to do moving on? Riddle's whole thing is still Randy. Randy Orton is still his guy. That's still his, because you saw Rollins, he hit the draping DDT. He was mocking it. So, Riddle's still invested in the Randy Orton storyline. They're still a tag team when Randy comes back, I would think. So you got to think, okay, well, Rollins is the guy. He's been kind of calling out Roman. Yeah, we saw that a little bit before. Rollins did the Shield gear and everything, but now it's a little bit different. It's been a little bit longer. It's been longer than Riddle and Roman. So, maybe that's the next thing you do, especially with, spoiler, with what we saw here. If you heard me mentioning Roman still as the champ, but I mean, Rollins, he hit I like when he hit that big superplex and he goes for the Falcon Arrow, but Riddle, then he hit like a big suplex and everything. But no, what did he hit? Was it like a stomp was the finish? Or I
think it was, and they both exchanged it like finishes, like old school, because even like Seth Rollins did there. So
yeah, and cool. I know he went for the
like
pedigree and stuff. But I mean, like I said, Rollins I thought he hit something. It was from the second rope was the finish.
Oh no, it was the curb stomp.
It was the curb stomp. Maybe he was just up top when he hit it, or like on the second rope when he hit it on the turnbuckle. But it was a big move. 1, 2, 3, and Rollins, he gets the win, and I think he needed it because, like I said, he's got to go on to Roman Reigns. You got to move him on to that. He's the next credible guy, and Riddle. I mean, hey, it's one of those things where he's still over. I feel like the crowd still likes him because he has that charisma, but Rollins needed to win because Rollins, what was the last big feud that Rollins was in?
Oh yeah, like Cody
Rhodes.
Cody.
And what happened in all those matches? He lost.
Yeah, it's true.
So okay, like this is the next big feud. You really got to kind of, not saying Rollins, because even if Rollins lost, he's still over. He's still Seth Rollins. He's still the top 2 or 3 worker in the entire WWE. But no, he needed to win here, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree on that. Like you said, but we're gonna see what happens on the SmackDown side. Oh, also worth mentioning, Matt Riddle. It's Matt Riddle again. He got his name back. So a lot of guys getting them. A lot of guys like not getting it back yet. But like we needed to maybe go back to like the Jews references and all of that cool stuff. So like let's go to the main event, Paul. Cardiff, Wales. Everybody wanted to see this. A little bit to talk about. So they brought me here for not do jack shit. Yeah, that's what happens. The guy they bring him in, the Scarlet right there. So I thought he was gonna play a factor. Good stuff that they didn't. So like it's time to talk about the main event, of course, Roman against Drew McIntyre. Really cool to see that for Drew, he got back, broken dreams for at least a little bit. 2-3 seconds, and then he went back to the regular entrance.
Well, I mean, the cool thing it was a video package. You kind of saw where okay, here's this skinny kid, developmental, all this stuff. Okay, here's main roster, 3MB, all this stuff. The chosen one, all blah blah blah. Eventually released. You see him come back. Now he looks like a fucking man. Like he did what JR said. He went away and learned a new hold. Then he came back and. I mean, you saw the rise and everything. And as I'm watching this, I think about something that Drew said. And you don't always want to hear people, oh, it's my dream. It's my dream. Hey, we all have dreams, okay, join the club. But you think about Drew when he beat Brock Lesnar and it was crickets. Nobody was there. Yep. Nobody cheered. Nobody would ever. This is like this is as close as it's going to get. I mean, obviously he could do it at WrestleMania again. But I mean, that's not your home crowd. That's not your people. This is as good as it was going to get, and you had that moment in Broken Dreams, and they're playing it. I mean, it really hyped you up. You thought, okay, this is going to be it. Roman comes out, and they drew this out, and I thought, man, is this really going to only be 4-hour pay-per-view? They're only going to have like a 6-minute match. I thought, man, is this going to be like Lesnar and Goldberg? Is this going to be over quick, and Drew's going to stomp him and win? That's what I thought, but no, they were like, no, we're going longer than 4 hours. Don't be bullshit, Jean Paul. Don't even think that. And I mean, this match was great.
New regime, Jean Paul.
Drew looked good in the beginning. He was awesome. Roman, he kept ducking in the ropes, going to the outside. He was flustered. The crowd chanting for Drew and taunting Roman. It was getting in Roman's face. He couldn't deal with it. They go to the outside. Then you see, I don't know if this happened then, but I'll mention it now because it really didn't play a factor, except maybe I think this is going to be the next feud for, unfortunately, spoiler, a losing Drew McIntyre. Is Karrion kind of got in Drew's face, and Drew's like, oh, you want to go? And he's like, and then that allowed Roman to kind of take over. And, then Roman was in advantage of the match. And it was one of those things where you think, okay, Karrion didn't sucker punch him, lead to the spear, 1, 2, 3. It wasn't anything bullshit like that. But again, like I said, maybe this is hinting for the next feud for Drew to kind of, okay, this will hold Drew over until he could, maybe then if he beats Karrion or whoever comes out of this feud will be then the next contender for whoever's the champion. But you see that, like I said, Roman gets on offense. Eventually, Drew's laying there in the ring. He gets a mic. Cardiff, acknowledge me. Boo! It was awesome. That's like Attitude Era. That's The Rock getting the mic and the crowd exploding, or Stone Cold. When do you see that? You don't. You haven't for how long? We're seeing it again, and it felt awesome. It was so cool. And, just that little interaction. People might not think, whatever, but you don't see that, at least over here. At least
no, you don't see that anymore.
To that organic level. Roman will say, acknowledge me, and the crowd will yay or boo over here. But, I mean, that felt like they were really there. There weren't people like this on their phones.
There's underwear. Yeah. There's underwear that says, acknowledge me now.
There weren't people on their phones. Everybody was hands on their heads when a pinfall happened. They were waving their hands. They were standing up. They were involved. They weren't focusing on anything else.
Absolutely.
But like you said, Roman, then both guys laying there, knocked out after this hard-fought war. You hear the music, the crowd, oh my God, Austin Theory comes down. He's going to cash in again. Tyson Fury, boom, knocks him out. I don't mind it at this point. I know some people, even some people who I listen to, they even say, oh my God, Austin Theory's been booked like shit. What's going on? This is bad. I mean, I would rather have him come down, threaten to cash in, and get knocked out than come down, cash in, and not win the belt, because he wasn't going to beat Roman. So at least have it be funny like this, whatever. Tyson Fury's a celebrity. He's over. It's not like he's a celebrity that
he knocked him out, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and he knocked him out before he could officially cash in. He's a shoot boxer, so his punch would knock somebody out, especially without a glove.
Makes sense.
So, I mean, it was funny. It was good. I laughed. As soon as he punched him and he dropped him, I laughed because I was in a good mood.
And that's why you do it.
Yeah,
exactly
because,
that. That's why you do it.
This was great. And I mean, you saw Roman eventually, Drew was going for the Claymore. He dodges, ooh, wah, boom, Superman punch. But you knew that wasn't going to keep him down. Drew kicks out. Eventually, spear. Drew kicks out. Oh my God, what's going on? Another spear. I think he kicked out.
He kicked out.
I don't know if Drew actually hit the Claymore. And I think Roman might have kicked out I forget if he hit the Claymore or not, though.
He did once, and then
I thought he hit it.
But the referee was taking up ball.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right, because I remember calling it. Because as soon as Charles Robinson got there and Drew I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna do the ref bump, and they hit it, and that's when the whole Austin Theory's ref came down and all that other stuff. But
and then
eventually
another Claymore. Yeah,
the main deciding factor. Somebody on the outside, who's this guy with the hoodie? What the heck's going on here? We heard rumors Solo Sikoa's getting called up from NXT. I mean, the guy's awesome. He's the brother.
He's a really good wrestler.
Yeah, he's good already. He don't need to be on NXT.
One of the best parts of NXT 2.0 is him.
Exactly. He doesn't need to be there. He's already good. He already has the charisma. I mean, he looks right like him because he's their brother. You know what I mean? So he fits right in.
He's another bloodline.
He comes in there. And, he attacks Roman. They go at it, this and that leads to Roman Reigns.
Well, I mean, he pulled out also Drew because he was about to win. I'm saying, oh my gosh, he's really going to win it because you see, and also the camera shot, blocks the guy that, is going to pull from the back, the camera shot is just. Yeah,
because he pulled the ref,
and boom, he pulls him up. And I'm like, oh, he's going to win again. He's going to retain. And he gets the spear, 1, 2, 3. Charles Robinson, magically, he comes back.
The one thing at this moment right here, if you had to ask me, legit, now looking back on it now, you're like, okay, yeah, it's just Roman getting his Roman win again. I really believe Drew was going to kick out. I thought they were going to go screw all of it. Could you imagine if he kicked out?
Oh yeah.
I don't think that place had a roof on it. But if it did, the roof would have shot off the top of the building.
So and they didn't have a roof, yes.
Yeah, but if it did, it would have shot off the top because that would have been awesome. But no, he didn't, and it sucks. Roman wins. Okay, he celebrates the bloodline. But he didn't have Paul Heyman out there. That was the big story. This and that. You see Fury get in the ring. He shows a sign of respect to Roman. He was talking to both Drew and Roman before the match. He didn't pick those favorites. And, then he leaves, him and Drew, Drew has the moment. And this is the part that I know some people probably liked it, this to me was lame. This to me is I'm the kind of person who, if I was Drew and I just lost this fight and this is like a shoot, in the world of kayfabe, I'm not going to want somebody to be like, it's all right, pal, you'll get him next time. I'll be like, no, I was screwed. That fucking asshole shouldn't have been out here. I should have won. I had it won. Bring Roman out here. Let's restart it. Let's do it again. I don't want people to sing and dance, but the crowd liked it because they were happy because, hey, they haven't seen a pay-per-view in 30 years. So he sings American.
Number one. I'll tell you more about that.
He sings American Pie, and they love it. You have almost 63,000 people in the arena, and, they're going crazy, and Drew cuts an awesome, heartfelt promo. I mean, it was good, but to me, Roman wins, have the heel heat, go off the air. This could have been something that, the fans just saw, whatever. It just felt weird and out of place for it to be, bye-bye, Miss American Pie, whatever. I don't want to, it was just weird.
It was bad. It was bad, but the only reason to me they did it because it's two of their own are having fun with everybody, this day.
Well, yeah,
so
exactly, because the crowd...
moment.
Because it was, like I said, that was Bruno Sammartino getting pinned in the garden. Nobody wanted to see that. They wanted to see Drew win. So it's okay, we pissed them off for storyline reasons. We didn't piss them off because we gave them a bad pay-per-view. They're going to say this pay-per-view was awesome, but damn, we wanted to see Drew win. But at least we'll send them home happy, giving two of their guys in the ring, singing a song, having fun.
Well, yeah, that's what you said is the truth. So I mean, and for a lot of people, for you, even for me, I'm like, why the hell is he singing? You know what I mean? I'm like, finish this shit off. It's
thankfully I paused it because I had to take a break, so I paused it after the live match for about maybe a good 40-45 minutes. So I had this buffer. So at the end, I was just hitting the skip ahead 10 seconds as he's singing. I'm like, is there an angle or is it all just bullshit? And once I saw it was all bullshit, I was like, okay, goodbye. I was like, I'm out of here.
During the press conference, Tyson Fury said, "Oh, I'm going to go back to the ring. I'm going to fight again." They asked about Bad Bunny. Is he going to come back? Yeah, he's on tour, so like, hey, maybe with this he has some time. That was it. But like you said, a lot of people, like they say, "Oh, Vince McMahon is back again." I don't think so. It's just, it's a cultural moment.
No way. No.
It's a cultural moment.
I've heard people say that too. Oh, Vince McMahon is still pulling the strings. You would not be saying wrestler. You would not be doing all the. People would not be calling Matt Riddle. You wouldn't be seeing Dakota Kai and all them on the main. No, Vince is not in charge.
Exactly. So for me, it's fine. I mean, the ending, like you said, a little lame, but it's because they're somewhere else. So they gotta acknowledge that other country and that other people. Like you said, it's their time. That's what they did. But unfortunately, Drew didn't win. So like you said, we'll see maybe Karen.
But overall, fantastic pay-per-view.
Yes, absolutely. So family, thank you so very much for being with us. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Also, don't forget, live, we're going to do both shows. We're going to do All Out. And that's going to be the main show that we do. Everything that happens with John Moxley, CM Punk. Is a lot of people are like, okay, Castle did this. What is going to do AEW to top it all, or like to be better than them? So like, we're going to see. Like you said, remember, Paul is like, Tony Khan is like, okay, I might be pissing my pants, but I got to pull out something really cool about this. The only thing different, see, Triple H, 6 solid matches. Here we have like 12 or 19, so it's like you're going to end up like midnight. Happy, Labor Day weekend, everybody. So, that's what it's going to be. And then Worlds Collide. So Worlds Collide also, like, it's going to be really interesting to see what they're going to, like, Braun Breaker, Tyler Bate, the triple threat match with the women, a lot of good stuff. So be with us, family. And don't forget, again, one more time, where they can find us.
Yeah, follow us, Rope Break, on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
You know it, he knows it, everybody knows it. So family, one more thing that we have left to say, and that is...